Hi, my name is Natalie and welcome to my Holistic Health channel. So today I noticed in my garden that I've got a nice bit of rhubarb and it looks like I need to start using it now as the snails are also enjoying it quite a lot at the moment. So I thought I'd go out there and pick it and see what I could make with it. Well, today I have decided that what I would actually like to make is a rhubarb gin. So I'm not sure there's much point in me going into the benefits of rhubarb, seeing as we're going to be adding a very healthy amount of alcohol to this recipe. But some of the things that rhubarb are good for, it's full of fibre, it's got a lot amount of vitamin K and C, and vitamin K is good for bone strength, so it's thought that it may be useful in preventing against osteoporosis. It's also got manganese in. So those are a few of the key micronutrients that can be found in rhubarb. So what I'm going to do with the rhubarb I have collected here, so I've got quite a bit. I've weighed it out already, so I have about 1 kilo, and I'm literally going to be chopping that up into roughly inch-long pieces, and I'm going to put them in a jar and cover it with 400 grams of caster sugar. Now I always make sure when I'm doing the gin recipe that the caster sugar is white and not golden, because if you use a golden sugar it kind of spoils the nice pink colour that you're going to get when the gin is ready. So I'm going to start by chopping up these rhubarb stalks into the right size pieces, putting them in the jar and covering them with sugar. So here is my chopped rhubarb. I've had to get 2 jars in the end as my first jar wasn't big enough for the amount that I had chopped up. And you notice before I started that I'd already taken the leaves off the stalks, as most people are probably aware, but just in case you aren't, the leaves are poisonous, so they're never parts of the rhubarb plant that get eaten. So I'm just going to divide the sugar between these 2 jars of rhubarb, so that they all get a nice amount of sugar in each. Now the reason for adding the sugar is it ends up tasting great, but what it does is it draws out the juice from the rhubarb stalks. So I'm going to make sure they both get plenty. And then what I will do is I've got these clip top jars which seal, give it a good old shake. There's nothing escaping from there. So the rhubarb's all coated, and I will do that for both of these jars. And once that is complete, I'm going to leave it for 24 hours. And when I come back, I expect to see a fair amount of rhubarb juice that has been extracted. At which point I will then add the gin. You could use gin, vodka, whichever you prefer really. I'm more of a gin and rhubarb flavoured person. So I will be back with you shortly once I'm ready for the next stage. So I'm back in the kitchen, having left the rhubarb and the caster sugar to soak in these 2 jars that I made yesterday. So I've left it for 24 hours. And as you can hopefully see, all this juice, literally from just adding the sugar, has now come out of the rhubarb. So you'll be getting that nice kind of rhubarb flavour in the gin. So I'm hoping to get them all now to fit into 1 jar. So you might want to get yourself a fairly large jar, because this one is a pretty big one. Not sure quite how big it is. But yeah, you can do it in little batches or you can get it all condensed into one. But I've got a gin here, and so I've got a 700 milliliter bottle, and I'm just going to add that now to the rhubarb mix. And I'm going to add it a little bit to both, because I don't think that it is going to all fit into one of my jars. That's absolutely fine. I'll have 2 different batches. And literally that is it. It's one of the simplest things to do. So I'm going to clip those jars shut again now. So having filled that up further, I have got the gin, the sugar and the rhubarb. I'm going to give it a good old shake. So all the sugar at the moment is kind of, a lot of it that's left over is sitting at the bottom of the jar. So going to shake that all up. And the same with this one. And now I'm going to leave that for about 4 weeks, and then hopefully in that 4 weeks you'll see that there'll be a beautiful bright pink gin which will be ready to drink. And at that point you can either strain off the rhubarb, or you can just leave it in and serve it directly from there. I tend to use muslin or something just to strain that away. But yeah, I will be back and show you the finished product when it's done in 4 weeks' time. And now I'm ready for the final step of preparing the rhubarb gin. So these are the final products. You can see it's getting all nice and pink in there now from the gin. So these are the 2 that I've made, and I've left them now for 4 weeks. So all that is left to do is to strain out the rhubarb and then pour into my jars. So I've got a measuring jug here I'm using. You can use any pot, and I've just used a bit of muslin cloth to strain out the liquid. So easy to do. What I like about using this particular pot is it's got a nice pour spout, so that means that I can put it into the bottles more easily without wasting any of this precious product. So here we go. And voila, there we have it. I'm going to have to use my gloves to pick this up because I have literally just sterilised the jars. They're still a little bit hot. But there you can see this lovely pink rhubarb gin. I should say the actual final step is in the drinking, which I will be trying out later tonight. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this really easy step-by-step process on how to make a rhubarb gin. If you like what you see and you want to see any more recipes, just let me know what you'd like to see made. Ideally from things that you can find in the garden, like your elderflowers, elderberries, and when the season's right, I'll look around finding a recipe to prepare those for. Thanks for watching. And I just thought I'd quickly pop on because it looks so nice once you see it properly decanted, and you can really appreciate just how beautiful and pink the rhubarb comes through. And here it is. I've got these 2 small bottles and a 3rd bottle, so plenty to go round. And in addition to that, a little drop more. Cheers.